Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Today's verse, because it's very similar. In yesterday's verse it was discussing the qualities of Krishna. And in today's verse it's discussing the qualities of Rukmini Devi. So that's why I got confused, because in both verses the word is used is sadrisham, which means just suitable. One is suitable for the other. They both have such exalted qualities. So, just as Rukmini heard about the qualities of Krishna and decided that, you can understand? There is Abhavi Jara. So just as Rukmini heard about the qualities of Krishna and decided that I don't want anyone else for my husband, only Krishna. Even if I have to die and be reborn many, many lifetimes without a husband, I'll only settle on Krishna as my husband. So similarly, Krishna, he heard about the qualities of Rukmini. And he thought that, well, she is qualified to be my wife. I can't think of anyone else at that time. There were so many others waiting to be married in future. But Krishna thought, yes, this indeed, Rukmini must be my wife. And in fact, later on we'll find that Rukmini sent a messenger to Krishna that please come and kidnap me. Unusual message. That Krishna himself told the Brahmana that yes, just as Rukmini is thinking of me, I am always thinking of her. In fact, I can't even sleep at night. I'm simply thinking about Rukmini. It seems that Krishna has fallen in love. It's one of the things that happens when you fall in love. You can't sleep at night because you're always thinking about your beloved. So this was the situation with Krishna and Rukmini. And actually they are the ideal husband and wife. Just as it is said, Lakshmi Narayan are the ideal husband and wife. So Rukmini and Krishna are none other than Lakshmi Narayan. Of course, Rukmini's position is somewhat different too, and even more exalted than that of Lakshmi in the Vaikuntha planets. But the mood in which Rukmini serves Krishna and relates with Krishna is very much like that of Lakshmi, and Krishna also behaves very much with her in that way. A mood of great awe and reverence, respectfulness, respectability permeates the relationship. And even sometimes Krishna shows forehands to Rukmini, as he did, for instance, when Krishna was teasing Rukmini that now I think when she already had grandchildren at that time. And Krishna was saying to her that, well, actually, you made a mistake. You married me. I'm simply a useless fellow. I'm simply a coward. I ran away from all the kings and built this fort here in Dwarka. I'm not a very high caste. I was just running around in my childhood in the village. Whereas you're from a very high caste family and you have so many good qualities, whereas everyone knows I'm simply a cheater and a liar and I have no good qualities whatsoever. And even many people worship me, but I simply make them into beggars. I don't reciprocate with them. So many people worship me in love, and in reciprocation I simply take away whatever they have. So actually I'm a completely useless fellow, whereas you are full of all good qualities. Therefore, I think it's better, you should have married someone else. Well, never mind. Everyone makes mistakes, especially in your youth. People tend to be bewildered. So you married me in your youth. But anyway, it's never too late. Life's not over yet. Why don't you leave me and go and marry someone else like Shishupal, as he wanted to? So this was Krishna teasing Rukmini and joking with her, but she couldn't understand that Krishna was joking with her, so she fainted. She fell on the ground like a banana tree, blown down in a storm. So at that time, Krishna manifested 4 arms before her. 2 arms to pick her up with and 2 arms to put her hair back in shape and everything like this. So the relationship between Rukmini and Krishna is very much like that of Lakshmi and Narayana. And this is the Hare Krishna. Any sound coming? This is supposed to be not supposed to be, this is actually the ideal that Grihastas in this world can follow. Now yesterday, I was also quoting Rukmini at the same time after the same incident when Krishna teased her and she fainted and again she came to her senses and then she addressed Krishna and one of the things she said was that no woman should accept any man as her shelter, understanding that any man of this material world, what she is taking shelter of? Simply a bag of bones, blood, stool, and muscles, decorated by some hair and mustaches, and called king or husband or some such title. So Rukmini was addressing the position of materialistic people. So from this it may seem that, well, no one should marry. And in one sense, yes, everyone should simply accept Krishna as their husband. Krishna is the supreme master, and in relationship with him, everyone is simply enjoyed. He is the bhogi and everyone else is bhogya, that to be enjoyed. However, it is an ongoing fact of this material world that most people get married and naturally when a young man of marriageable age, he's thinking how to find some young woman who is suitable for him, and vice versa, a young woman is thinking the same. And in family life, if it's actually an ideal family life, then the wife sees her husband as Narayana, and the husband sees the wife as just like Lakshmi, she's known as Griha Lakshmi, just like a goddess of fortune in the home. And it's stated that in the home where there is no quarrel between husband and wife, then Lakshmi herself will come and reside there. And it's said that a wife who's just like Lakshmi, that she's very submissive to her husband and very chaste and serves him very nicely. And in such a home where such chaste women are respected, then the goddess of fortune herself personally comes and resides. So naturally, every young man is looking for a representative of Lakshmi in this world. And every young woman is looking for a representative of Narayana. Now, realistically speaking, most men are not on the level of Narayana, and most women are not on the level of Lakshmi. If we see, for instance, some of the qualities that are mentioned, just like Roop, the form of Vishnu or Lakshmi, no human beings can have such a beautiful form. So we may be looking for a very good-looking husband or good-looking wife, but actually none can be as good-looking as Narayana or Lakshmi, Krishna or Rukmini. It's not possible because their forms are original Satchidanandamaya forms. And the forms of this material world are, as Rukmini has said, made of blood, stool, mucus, pus, urine, muscles, fat, and all these things. And everyone gets a different kind of body according to their karma. So some people have very beautiful forms, at least according to our estimation, according to Rukmini's estimation. They're simply bags of mucus, etc. And some people they're quite ugly bodies. And most people have something in between. Neither very beautiful, nor very non-beautiful. But something in between, according to one's karma. So in youth, one has a beautiful body. And then as it gets older, it deteriorates. So that the beautiful young woman of today is the not very beautiful old woman of later on. However, even though one's body may not be, it's not possible to be so beautiful, and not everyone can expect to marry the most beautiful man or woman. It's also not possible. But at least in traditional Vedic culture, everyone was trained, at least among cultured people. Everyone was trained so that they would develop the qualities of Lakshmi and Narayan. It's not possible that everyone have the good looks or the wealth of Lakshmi and Narayan. That is not possible. But everyone can try to develop the qualities of Lakshmi and Narayana, and that training was there. But young men, they were trained to be responsible. And responsible, that means that they're also, I'll come back to that. So they're trained to be responsible. That means they have to look after their families. If they're going to stay a brahmachari, it means that they're responsible. They're not just become a brahmachari because, well, it's easier. Just do a little bhajan and then you don't have to worry about maintaining a family. Actually, from the spiritual point of view, it makes more sense for a young man not to marry. If he's interested in spiritual life, which that makes sense, then we should simply remain unmarried, chant Hare Krishna, not have any family entanglement, and go back to Godhead. However, if one thinks that, well, I'll just get married because it's too much headache to get married, which it certainly is. You don't believe it? Ask the Grihasthas. So much headache to maintain a family. Even Prabhupada said that. In Kali Yuga, to maintain a family is like maintaining a great empire. It's such a big endeavor. So if one thinks that, well, it's just too much headache to get married, but one doesn't have any strong desire to be Krishna conscious, then he'll end up living a life as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, a babu brahmachari. Or a mata meti. Instead of a griha meti, mata meti. In other words, you live in the mat, in the ashram. But you're living a very comfortable life. No real strong desire to be Krishna conscious. Simply do a little seva, whatever you need, and then eat nicely, sleep nicely, and like this. So, that is not a responsible way. One should be responsible. Every man should work hard. He should work either to maintain his family, or if he's a brahmachari, then brahmachari guru kule vasandanta gururita dasaram acharam lucho sujara gurusam. A brahmachari lives in the guru only for the benefit of the guru, not for his own benefit. And he lives there as a menial servant or a slave, just like someone is kept as a servant, whatever, just menial servant, whatever you're asked, you should do. That is brahmacharya. That is the meaning of ashram. Shram means work, and it is an intensifier, which means hard work, more work. It's not ashram. Ashram means no work. Ashram, which is the actual word, means more work. So that is service to Guru and Krishna, that is in the ashram. And in the family life, as one is to enter family, he should be responsible for his duty to maintain the family, and not simply to say to the wife, you treat me as Narayan, massage my feet, and that's all. But he has to be responsible to maintain the family, and also to act in an ideal manner, to give an example to his children, and also to be a responsible member of society. That previously, of course, modern life has destroyed all family and social structure. But previously, people would live in small groups, not big groups. They would be living in a village, or they'd be living, town means not a very big town, they'd be living in particular quarters, Brahmanas' quarters, Vaishyas' quarters, like this. So they'd have their caste traditions, and they were expected to live a very respectable life. Every man was supposed to live a very responsible and moral life. And in this way, he was respectable as Narayana, because the wife would respect the husband just like Narayana. And the wife, Grihalakshmi, she would serve life of service, life of sacrifice, serving the husband, elderly parents, and children, that is required by God's arrangement, that women have to serve, especially the children. Children required to be served. Young babies, they're completely dependent upon their mothers, especially for food, for protection, for caring, for teaching them so many things, for saving the children. Because if you don't watch the children 24 hours a day, they kill themselves most of them. So they always have to be looked after. So that is the role of women in this Vedic culture. And even though it's not expected that every husband and wife can be exactly like Lakshmi and Narayana, at least not in form, but in qualities, they can invite them. And even if the husband is not 100% like Narayan in qualities, and the wife is not 100% like Lakshmi in qualities, everyone's in this material world. It's not that everyone's perfect. But on the whole, the fault should be overlooked. And this way, the family life can go on very peacefully. Of course, the fault means if there's some minor fault, there's some major fault, that should be corrected. But the commitment is there. Just like you see Krishna was saying to Rukmini, he was suggesting actually to her that you divorce her, which is a pretty amazing suggestion. But he was joking with Rukmini. But actually there was no question. Krishna, he not only married 16,108 wives, but he looked after every one of them very nicely. He arranged a great palace for them. There were so many maidservants for every one of them. And Krishna not only arranged for their physical needs, but Krishna also spent time with every one of his wives by expanding himself in 16,181 forms. And in this way, he spent some time with his family members also, as he would describe when now he was visiting the different palaces of Krishna. In one palace he saw that Krishna was petting his children, looking after his children. In another one he was sharing some joking words with one of his wives. And there were so many different activities Krishna was doing. Sometimes he was consulting with his ministers. Sometimes he was arranging for his children to get married. Sometimes he was arranging to go on a hunting expedition. So he had a multifarious life. He wasn't just sitting at home all day. And he wasn't also outside all day, like so many men in the modern age who simply go out to work, and their home is simply a base for which they go out to work. And even they They hardly eat at home because they don't have time. And practically the only thing they do at home is sleep. That's about all they do. Or if they come home, they simply turn on the TV. And so they really don't have much time for their family. They don't spend time with their family. And many men lament that my job is giving me so much pressure that I don't have time for their family. But Krishna wasn't like that. Krishna set the ideal example. He wasn't simply sitting at home. But he was outside doing what he had to do. And he would also come home and spend time with his family. So in this way, Krishna showed the idea of a very balanced family life. Sometimes outside, sometimes inside. Prabhupada also described that the man, he deals with outside affairs. And the wife, she deals with inside affairs. She's also a manager. She's managing the home, which can be, it's a full-time job. Nowadays, they are denigrating the status of housewives. Oh, you're only a housewife. Only a housewife. You should go out and become a fighter pilot, or more likely a factory worker, or whatever. Or they're telling all women should go out to work. But being at home is also, it's a very responsible position. Because you women have to bring up the children, which is a very important function. Because if the children are brought up nicely, but without their mother's love and care and guidance, then they'll all turn out to be rascals. They'll all be emotionally deprived. I use all these terms, but it's a fact. And children, if they're simply at home, no one has time for them. They require so much affection and looking after and training and guidance. But if no one has time for them, or even worse, if there's no one there at home for them, because the mothers also have to work, and the children come home from school to an empty home, then they go up without any, they don't have feelings of affection because they never had them properly given to them. So they grow up very hard and harsh. So this is very bad for the individuals. It's very bad for society, and it's very bad for bhakti also. Because if someone is hard-hearted, how can they be a devotee? Krishna consciousness means to become soft-hearted. That is the description of prema. Prema means when the heart becomes very soft. Krishna. So of course, affectionate relationships in this material world, they are perverted reflection of love of Krishna. But it is easy to change, it is easier to go from a perverted reflection to the actual point that, in other words, if one has affection for family members, then it's easier to develop affection for Krishna, because at least the feeling of affection is there. But if there's no feeling of affection in the heart whatsoever, if one's heart is simply hard, then you have to make it's very, very difficult. Such a person is a demon. That means they're actually demonic. They don't care for anyone else. They only think in terms of their own interests. And they have no idea of sharing loving feelings with others. And therefore the only happiness in life for them is sense pleasure. And maybe they also take pleasure in giving pain to others. We see this in the modern society. There are so many cases of absolutely grotesque examples of behavior, how people capture others, torture them, and mistreat them, and they take pleasure in that. And for their own pleasure, a demoniac person can do anything horrible. So sometimes people also do that because another manifestation of the emotionally disturbed minds, which are very common in the modern age, is that people do something extraordinarily horrible just to gain the attention of others. Because as a child, of course this is all what we might call psychological analysis. But Prabhupada also states in the Upanishads that the modern psychologists. They have some insights into the working of the human mind. So, you see that sometimes, because children, they never got sufficient attention from their mothers in particular. Mothers in particular, of course, look after children. Fathers also, but in a different way. Mothers are very affectionate and kind and loving. Fathers should be somewhat strict. So they get their attention in another way. So they get both sides. So if they didn't get any attention and then no one cared for them in their childhood, then they may go out and shoot 20 people dead. Get a lot of attention. It's one way of getting attention. Because there's so much starved of any love or affection, and they do such crazy and such things, unfortunately, are not unusual in the modern age. It's become part of American life, in Britain also, that someone just pulls out a gun and shoots many people dead, usually young kids, because there's so much starved of affection. So we see that here we're reading Krishna Lila, and what is the essence here? Why is it so attractive? What is it about Krishna Lila that's so attractive? Of course, Krishna has many wonderful activities, lifting Govardhan Hill, and Krishna is fighting single-handedly so many demons and big armies, and Krishna is warm, and it's very beautiful. So all these things are very attractive. Krishna is all attractive. Krishna is attractive in every way. Everything about Krishna is attractive. But the essence of the attractiveness of these pastimes is that Krishna is very loving and kind, very affectionate to his devotees, and his devotees are also very loving towards Krishna, even if sometimes it appears to be different between Krishna and Rukmini. Apart from that one occasion, it's very clear that their dealings are all pure love. But sometimes with other devotees, it appears as if they're fighting and even calling each other bad names. This we see here chanting every morning. Lampata, chant this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Srimad Radharani is saying that Krishna is a lampa, which means he's a very bad character. If you say that about someone, it means you're criticizing them in a very bad way. So it appears that Krishna is like that. That means he neglects his devotees, but he does that to increase their love for him. And they sometimes criticize him, but they criticize him like that only because they have the most intense love. So this is sometimes difficult to understand, but it is a fact, and most important fact, in the whole universe and beyond all the universes, that Krishna loves his devotees, and his devotees love him, and there is no comparison to the loving relationships between Krishna and his devotees. So this is the essence. This is the key. This is what Krishna consciousness is all about. We emphasize very much service. Do service, but that service, why do service? Because that will awaken our loving feelings for Krishna. Service is the basis of praying, of love for Krishna. So that is the goal of all the devotees, to awaken their loving feelings for Krishna, following in the footsteps of Rukmini and Krishna. When we hear about these pastimes, we may think, well, there are better love stories, you could say. You can read, even in the Mahabharata, we have the famous stories of Nala and Damayanti, in particular, Savitri and Satyavan. These are also love stories. So, you may think, well, what's so sweet? Krishna will be, it's a nice story, but there are other nice stories also. One time, one man asked Prabhupada that, but you see, you've written so many books, but you hardly mentioned Mahabharata and Nala. we have nothing to do with Maharaj Nala. Nala is, Mahabharata is the story of Nala and Damayanti. It's a great love story. King Nala, how he, influenced by the personality of Kali, abandoned his wife, who then they both went through many difficulties, and they wanted to meet each other, but they were separated by fate, and eventually, due to their love for each other, they were again united. So it's a great love story. The Prophet said, we have nothing to do with Maharaj now. It's from the Mahabharata, but it's a mundane story. It shows how his children, baby pigeons, were captured in the net of a hunter. And then his wife was also captured, and he came and saw them all captured. And in the Bhagavatam it describes that the male pigeon, seeing all his wife and family caught in the trap, the net of the hunter, lamented and said, oh, now everything of mine is finished. And he also fainted and fell in the net. But Prabhupada gave a different twist to the story and said that the pigeon seeing this said, well, now my family is finished, I might as well take some yes. So, Prabhupada is in a different route. There are different ways of approaching this matter, this complex matter of relationships in this material world. One way, in general manner, is that a man should be very responsible, loving towards his wife, vice versa, his wife, his husband. But then from the transcendental point of view, anyway, we have to develop our love for Krishna, generally, which means renunciation based on knowledge. However, within family life, one is not encouraged to renounce prematurely. One is supposed to at least formally set a good example in family life. So there are different ways of looking at this, but we see that Krishna and Rukmini, what is the essence of their affairs? They're just like Nala and Damayanti, their attraction to each other. It was actually Maya. It was illusory, but the attraction between Krishna and Rukmini, it is real, because it is on the platform of eternality, and that is the essence of reality as it is understood in the most real way. The essence is love. Krishna is simply full of love for his devotees. So the Mayavadis, they deny the love of this material world, which is okay, it's alright. But they come to the position of neutrality, of no love. Whereas the devotees, they want to enter into loving relationships to Krishna. That's what I was going to say. That why they listen to Krishna and Rukmini? What is so attractive? Why we listen to the story of Rukmini? Why is it so attractive? When the plot isn't very complex. I mean, even nowadays there are so many novels with very complex plots of love stories. It's not a very complex plot. It's a very simple plot. That Rukmini, of course it's a true story. The story is that Rukmini, she was betrothed to a man she didn't like, so she sent a message to Krishna. Krishna kidnapped her and took her away. It's a very simple story. There's no subcurrents going on. It's not that Rukmini had someone else on the side. We have all these modern stories where she has her husband and 2 other boyfriends, and she's trying so many complex things. So it's a very straightforward plot, but why is it so attractive that we're leading after so many years? And this story of Krishna and Rukmini is actually far more well known and popular than Nala and Damayanti. Why is that? Because it is all the essence of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. This is spiritual love. This is the real thing. By hearing about this, we we can also develop our real loving feelings for Krishna. So this is the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. This is dealing with the essence. The essence of the essence. Srimad Bhagavatam is Sarvare Vikasa Saram Saram. Vyasa Devi took, after compiling all the Vedas and the Itihasas and Puranas and all the different Vedic literatures, he made the essence of that, which is the Vedanta Sutra. And then the essence of that is Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the essence of all the literatures, and the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the 10th canto. And what is the subject of the 10th canto? It is simply Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. How Krishna is enjoying loving affairs with his devotees. Non-devotees, they can't appreciate it. Why people there's so much interest in Krishna's, after so many thousands of years, they still need Krishna's still in the butter. So what? Some kid 5,000 years ago stole some butter. Then, what's the big thing? Even if a kid nowadays steals butter, they won't even get in the newspapers. What to speak of being immortalized, sung about, pictures painted about it, discussed, songs being sung about it. Well, that just goes to show that Krishna's butter stealing, Krishna's fiancé stealing, in the case of Rukmini, all Krishna's activities are of a different category altogether, which are Shinu Sukadam Shubhadam. They give hearing them gives actual happiness and auspiciousness in this otherwise miserable material world. So this is the special secret. But no one can enter into Krishna Bhakti unless he has that feeling for Krishna, that we actually Krishna is very wonderful, and our whole aim is to meet Krishna. Just like Rukmini, she was prepared to die many times if she couldn't get Krishna as her husband. She was not going to settle for anything. She could have settled for Shishupal. She could have said, "Wow, I really wanted to marry Krishna." But anyway, couldn't happen. I got betrothed with Shishupal. Anyway, Shishupal, he's also a king, and people can die, and he's also powerful, and he's got lots of money, and it's okay. Nothing wrong with it. She could have settled for Shishupal. He was a big shot in the material world. He wasn't one of the foot soldiers. When Krishna fought with Jarasandha's army, he killed so many foot soldiers. You won't find their name in the Bhagavatam. Shishupal's name is there. He was a big man in society. So she could have settled, but okay, Shishupal, he's my husband. Alright, nothing wrong with that. Could have done worse. But she only wanted Krishna. If I can't get Krishna, then what's the point of even being alive? I might as well burn myself now. So that should be the attitude of the devotee. If I can't get Krishna, then what's the use? Whatever else I may do, I might be a fighter, or whatever. It's considered some prestigious positions. So whatever, I may be the CEO of a company, I may be a computer expert, but what is the use unless we get love of Krishna? So this is the feeling that devotees whole world is centered on. I must develop a love for Krishna, loving things, praying to Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna. Krishna, please give me love. But that love cannot be there. So many material desires. So we have to channel our material desires into Krishna, which again coming back. That's what Grihastha Hare Krishna consciousness for. That if one is in family life, then family life means exactly that, family and society. When Prabhupada used to call family, society, and love, Nitya Sutta Ramani Samaja. That means friends, children, women, society, all these things. So this is called Maya, generally speaking. But one can live in family life with the wife, seeing the husband as a representative of Narayana, Krishna, and the husband, seeing the wife as a representative of Lakshmi, Rukmini, and together serving Krishna, Radha Krishna, Lakshmi, and living a very peaceful, sane, respectable, affectionate life, and in this way, together, centering their attraction on Krishna, preparing themselves to Krishna, to share in Krishna's affection. Krishna had 16,108 wives, but he wasn't neglecting any. Just like when he went to marry Nagmajiti, Satya, the test was there. Prabhupada said that here are 7 boats, and you have to tame them. Otherwise, that's the condition for marrying my daughter. And by the way, they cannot tolerate even the smell of a prince. And many bold, courageous, strong young princes came to tame these bones and thus take the hand of my daughter. But none of them could stand even a minute. They all had to leave with their bones broken, because these bulls are so dangerous. So Krishna very easily subdued the 7 bulls, and at that time, to do so, he expanded himself into 7 forms. Now he could have put a ring in the nose of each bull simply by doing it in one form, but he took 7 forms to show Nagmajiti that I already have several wives. Now, I can expand myself into many forms also, so you won't be left alone. I'll be in different forms with other wives, and I can be with you also. So Krishna is unlimited. But even though he has got so many wives, friends, and in each wife's palace, there will be so many maidservants. That was the system. Where the king gave his daughter to a Kshatriya prince, or as in Rukmini's case, Krishna stole away Rukmini. But then afterwards, King Bhishmaka, the father of Krishna, came and said, well, very nice, well done. You did a good job there, stealing my daughter. Congratulations. Now here's the dowry. And then he gave dowry. Not that they were arguing, well, let's have a Maruti car, Mixie, and not like that. But out of love, they would king give. So one of the things they would give would be so many maidservants who would go as attendants to the queen. So Krishna was looking after them all, maidservants, manservants, so many devotees, so many children. You might think, well, Krishna had 16,108 wives, and how many children did he have by each wife? 10. Is that right? 10 sons and 1 daughter, 11 by each. So, whoever's good at mathematics can multiply 16,108 by 11. Comes to about 180,000 approximately. So he had about 180,000 children. And he didn't neglect any of them. He knew them all by name, looked after them all very nicely. And they also had many children. Krishna knew them all. He looked after them all. He was affectionate to them all. Because Krishna is unlimited. So our aim is to enter into the family of Krishna. That Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said. That once there was a dispute between his Grihastha disciples on one side and the brahmacharis and sannyasis on the other. The brahmacharis and sannyasis said, we are renounced, we are austere, we are living in the temple, we are 24 hours engaged in Krishna's service, and you are all Pacha Grihastha. Pacha is a Bengali word which means rotten. So you're all rotten grihastas. But the grihastas will say, no, we're better than you. We're maintaining, we're giving money. It wasn't for us. You couldn't eat your rice 3 times a day. Mountains of rice. Bengali system. They have Annapurna Mahotsav 3 times a day. So some controversy arose. And each one was saying, we're better than you, we're better than you. So the matter came to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who said that our aim is to become family people. Our aim is not to be renounced. Our aim is to enter into the family of Nanda Maharaj. That is an aim. So, actually Krishna, he's also a brahmachari. The Rasa Muni, he also told Krishna is a brahmachari. Bhishma Dev also said Krishna is the best brahmachari. But he's also the best family man. So brahmacharis, they can take shelter of Krishna. Grihastas, they can also take shelter of Krishna. Sannyasis also, because the best sannyasi is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jyotisha. So Krishna is setting the ideal example for everyone. Krishna has many forms, many pastimes. All of these pastimes are extraordinarily wonderful. The essence of all of them is his intense affection for devotees, which devotees, when they're practicing devotional service, always remembering that our aim is to develop our love for Krishna, become very soft-hearted. It doesn't mean to become sentimental, foolish, but basically that our heart is melting in love for Krishna. Devotees are praying for that day. Kavi Havi Bolo Shedinama. Amar Aparada Ruchi. Shuddhanami Ruchi. When will we find, when by chanting the holy names, this is the means to attain love of Krishna. When will I give up my offenses, chanting the holy names? And then I'm getting taste for chanting the holy names. And love of Krishna will manifest in my heart. There are so many symptoms. Vaivana, Vipatu, when one actually attains love of Krishna, then his bodily colors will change and you will become trembling. And so many instances are given there. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that his own Guru, Ishvara Puri, taught him what is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Imam Sapriyanam Nitya, Imam Vata Sapriyanam Janatana Duttachit Chai Azatita Rodati Jayati Unmadana Nitati Lodavana. This is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the essence of all scriptures. But this verse states that when one has actually attained love for Krishna, then what does he do? He chants Hare Krishna very loudly, not caring for the opinion of others or outsiders. He dances, and laughs, and cries. So this is the aim of Krishna consciousness, to attain this love for Krishna, in comparison with which Jara Age Tunatunya Chari Purusha. In comparison with which everything else in this material world is no more significant than a piece of grass in the street. Hare Krishna. Any question about this? Yeah, I was saying in family life one can develop soft-heartedness, which can That soft-heartedness is also required in Krishna Bhakti. So the question is, well, is it required that we then become married to develop that? In some cases it may be. There's a term in Sanskrit called Ati Brahmacharya. It means excessive brahmacharya. Someone is that's when maybe we need to be softened out of it. Brahmacharya means stern, but not hard. It's different. That's why in Krishna Bhakti, even performing too much austerity is not recommended, because it can make a heart hard. Doesn't mean that that's an excuse to engage in sense gratification. But if one is too much hard by his practice of brahmacharya, he's actually rude to others, or not considering their feelings, and that may be brahmacharya, but it's not Krishna Bhakti. Krishna Bhakti means that one should develop own good qualities, especially in relationship with others. Because Krishna consciousness means to love Krishna, and then loving Krishna means to love all other people. Again, not on the sentimental table. One may express his love for others, as Prabhupada often did, by calling them fools and rascals. It's also possible. But Prabhupada, his doing so was from the platform of love, because he wanted to uplift them, not that he hated them. Even though he called them fools and rascals, he wouldn't neglect to make sure they got prasadam. He didn't say that, well, we're fools and rascals, we're not even going to give you prasadam just to make sure you go to hell because we deserve to. So you fool and a rascal, take some prasadam. At least get saved that way, somewhere or other. So it may be, if someone has a misconception, that that's a common misconception actually, that to be a brahmachari means to be rude to women in some sense. No, one should be aloof from, not rude to. Aloof from means one should, a brahmachari shouldn't interact with women any more than needed, because you can't. I mean, you can go to a cave in the Himalayas. You never know, some yogi might come and seek you out even there. And, I mean, even in Vedic culture, the brahmacharis go begging door to door from the housewives. Who comes and gives chapatis? It's the housewives. So, some interactions there, but not more than necessary. And that was, generally you see in traditional cultures in India, even young boys and girls, even they're not particularly brahmacharis in the beginning, there was very little interaction. That you wouldn't talk. Boy from another family wouldn't talk to them. It's not allowed. So there's very strict social restrictions. But that doesn't mean that one exhibits one's brahmacharya by being rude or such. That means actually that one is not properly developed. Because if you're actually renounced from desires for enjoyment, then you can speak politely to a woman. But if you're so much agitated, then you speak, as if there's some fault. The fault is with you. With the fault so. There's that story, this comes up in the Buddhist Jataka stories, where two monks were walking along the path. They came to a river. Some woman was there. The river was high, so she said, I can't cross. Can you help me? So one monk got down, said, get on my shoulders, carry her over, put her down, and then they walked. Well, after about half an hour, The other monk said, "You carried a woman over the river." The other monk said, "Oh yeah, that's right. You carried her all the way here, in your mind." In other words, he took her, dropped her, forgot her. The other monk carried her in his mind. So maybe if one is not developing, one is unnecessarily harsh. Generally, such a person is very proud also. I'm such a good Brahmachari. So you may need to be humble by having someone tell you, "Hey, do this, do that." And maybe also you become humble. When we're talking about these things, it's in general terms. Each individual case has to be seen separately. It's not that you have to think, "Well, now I must get married." Maybe you will. At the present time, you're a brahmachari. So at the present time, practice brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is a training for whatever comes next. Maybe more brahmacharya, maybe married life, maybe sannyas, but the training for all is the same. And one can be a very grihastha who's been trained nicely as a brahmachari. Gradually. Hare Krishna. You have a question? What to do in such a case? Well, as the saying goes, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't force it to breathe. So, it is the duty of the preacher to preach, and it's up to others to accept their preaching or not. And mostly, you don't get too explicit in it. See what usually happens in family. When young man and woman are married, sometimes they are very much enamored by each other, and they may be, in the beginning especially, more inclined towards sense gratification. But if they're chanting Hare Krishna and following the process of Bhakti, then the effect will be after some time in the week. What was all that about? Okay, now it's time to get serious about Bhakti. Which generally happens. Hare Krishna.